Ready when you are. Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Ulysses Town Board. I will call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. May I please have a roll call?
Yes, you may. Mr. Boggs.
Present.
Ms. Weatherby.
Present.
Ms. Olson.
Present.
Mr. Goldman.
Present.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mary Bouchard is currently excused and may be able to join us remotely, but we'll see. There was a meeting agenda posted on Friday. I'm hoping we can, with the board's consent, squeeze in. Oh, that's Linda. I'm hoping we can squeeze in a few more items. Nancy reached out. They could do JCA could do a short presentation. And I'm hoping that we can add that to after privilege of the floor. And then under old business, I'd like to add a speed reduction announcement. And then under new business, item D, I'd like to add a temporary no parking on Gorge Road at the request of state parks. Any other changes or alterations needed?
No.
Okay.
To approve as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And it looks like Mary Jo was able to join us.
Hi.
Right. So per our
Hi.
policy and state law, you have to have video to vote. So
Oh, okay.
it's
Just
not
give me a
super vote
second.
heavy meeting. It's not a super vote heavy meeting. So, but just as an FYI.
Okay, give me a second.
No worries. We'll be here. In the
There
meantime,
we
hey
are.
Mary, there you
Hi. Oh, what happened?
are.
Try again. Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting for Mary, we can move to privilege of the floor.
There we go.
Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the board? We have up to 3 minutes. No takers? No takers for privilege of the floor? How about online? Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board?
Since I'm the only one, no.
Thanks, Linda. Okay, then we will move directly on to Nancy, who's coming to us from Jacksonville Community Association. You want to pop up here, grab a chair if you want, so you can grab a chair right there so everybody can see you. Familiar.
Thanks. Last year, Jonathan Froelich, our president, and I came and we had a full-blown PowerPoint presentation about the park, the history, our relationship through the memorandum of understanding and all of that. This year, it's really just a brief verbal update to let you know some of the projects that we've been working on since the last year and a little bit of scan ahead in the near future. So first, thank you to the town board, because the support you provide us with every year makes a huge difference in us being able to maintain the park. As it's really sort of a public-private venture where the community association owns the land. We secure the insurance for it, but your funding it helps us keep it open to the public, and it's open year round and from dawn to dusk. And we some of you know we took many years to get a restroom, but it is now fully operational with a proper flush toilet and a sink and grab bars.
Nice.
And a very sort of gravel ramp, easy access for accessibility. And what we have done is also with sort of the funding that we had to enable us to hire a cleaner once every other week, because that was one of the questions people had. It's like, well, great, you're gonna think, how are you gonna keep it clean? And for as much as I have cleaned it multiple times, I am not the designated bathroom cleaner, but we do have someone. I do pop in from time to tidy up. But that has been working out well. We really sort of did a very soft, almost quiet, opening. Without advertising a lot to the public, we just sort of wanted to leave it open 24/7 and see whether people would use it responsibly or whether it would turn into a mess. And it has been really used responsibly, and the cleaning has kept it looking good. The one thing that sometimes happens is people leave the door open when they leave. And when our wonderful DPW crew comes to mow, for which we're very grateful, if we get grass inside small problems that are easily dealt with. But anyway, it has really worked out well. So the restroom is operational. We have had, and that makes it possible for us to host events at the pavilion. So we had this women's group at the Methodist Church who reserved the pavilion and came over one day for a luncheon, and it just made it easier for to be able to host people. So that's the restroom. What we're excited about is that we are in the process of getting solar power. We had several years ago, we had priced out what it would cost to run an electric line from Swamp College all the way up the long driveway to the pavilion. And that was about at that time, several years ago, about $35,000. And so when we created the restroom, it was built with a slanted roof, and we thought, well, let's see if we can't just use that to put solar panels. And we reached out to reached out to many people, but the only people who responded to us in a timely way at a reasonable rate was Finger Lakes Energy. And they will be able to install solar panels on the roof of the restroom that will gather enough electricity through, and others will know more of the details of this, but a controller to a battery that will enable us to not only power some DC lights inside the restroom, but we're hoping with some conduit to be able to put some motion sensitive lights in the pavilion. So that, again, we don't do a lot of evening events, but there are people who at the end of their meetings, and sometimes we've had, groups who hold their monthly meetings at the park, and it gets dark, and it would be nice to be able to find your way safely to the new handicap accessible parking lot that we have. So that's the goal. But the other part of what we're hoping to do with the solar power is to have enough power to run like an internet route. So we haven't figured out the internet part of it, but we're not getting internet wired into park. But if we could get like a hotspot or something like that, we would then be able to have a remote lock on the restroom. Because ideally, it would be easier to set a timer and have the door unlocked after at dusk and lock again. I mean, at dawn and lock again at dusk. Right now, we've just had to leave it open 24/7. It has a physical lock with a key, but that's one sort of safety feature we'd like to add. And frankly, we've been fortunate not to have a lot of recent vandalism, but the park is really pretty out of the way. And we've had some garbage dumped there and some other things that require, we've made the decision, as much as we don't like to surveil people, I think we are going to probably put up some surveillance cameras just, for safety's sake, if we need them. And that would enable us to do that. I mean, we could do trail cams, but then we'd have to be retrieving the tapes and all that. But anyway, so we're excited. And I wanted to give a particular shout out to both Molly Duell and Mark Washburn, who by the time all the pieces of our building permit came together at the building code office, it was coinciding with the ramp up for grassroots. But nonetheless, they actually were able to mark in and out with all his grassroots stuff. With Molly collected it, reviewed it, got it to Mark. He was able to sign off on it quickly so we could really get started. So we're hoping, and that's we're hoping to be able to get that done in the next couple of weeks. It's not a big job for them, and they've already, I think, priced things out and gotten materials ready. It's just a matter of installing. So we're excited about that. We've also done a couple other safety updates. our insurance company came by and suggested a couple changes, which we embraced, which is they wanted the metal roof on the pavilion, that pavilion's been there a very long time, to be coated with a protectant so that it rusted less and then would become less vulnerable to, breaking up and blowing off in a storm or something. So that's a safety measure. We've taken care of that. And for those of you who know the pond, at here's the parking area, the pavilion, nice bench here and willow, and then at the far end is a bridge at the base of the pond. And that works, but that, one of the things our insurance company pointed out, and they were right to do it, is that it has handrails, but they don't have balusters. And they said we needed to put some balusters in, we've got a plan to do that. And so that's coming next as a safety feature. We did, so we did have a very successful spring cleanup, even though it was a really crappy weather day. I suppose I shouldn't say crappy in public, but anyway, the weather was not ideal, but board members of Caitlin's family, Steve Manley he was hoping more Cub Scouts, but one Cub Scout and his mom came and to help on the cleanup day. We had a couple of adjacent neighbors who showed up and we were very grateful that the town continued its sort of longtime practice back from Jim Meeker days. They would occasionally bring a load of gravel to the park so that we could use it to fill the wet spots on the trail and, sort of holes in the driveway and stuff like that. And so we were able to get that delivered. And we used that to fill in the wet spots, but also build more of a gravel ramp to go over that bridge. So that, again, it's not, we do not claim that the park and the trail are all ADA compliant, but if somebody wanted to walk, they'd have an easier time if they had, say, a rolling walker or something like that to get up onto and over the bridge. And there's always just clear out and stuff that grows up over the winter. And then we also I wanted to thank Andy Hillman, came from the tree committee to sort of walk with us before the cleanup to sort of say, because he's been helpful in planting trees at the park before, and we know there are, rules and guidelines about that now, but he was helpful in thinking about where we might want to put some additional trees or shrubs like winterberry bushes, I think they might be called, where birds could come and in the wintertime. And so we picked out an area based on his advice and decided that would be the focus of our clear out. I mean, normally we just clip back the trails, but this we sort of went fuller in to clear out in anticipation of being able to get these trees. I know we couldn't get the trees now, we may still get them in the future, but at least we're hacking back a bunch of it. And through Andy, we were able to connect with Cooperative Extension, who lent to us something called a weed wrench. I had never heard of one, but apparently it helps pull out privet and other sort of big woody things. Help from our board members, and Caitlin and Carolyn Krezel was there. She was our gravel pit master. So we did a bunch of work on the trail, and Jim Dunn comes every year and is a remarkable volunteer that has just been shown up for us time and time again. And I just want to publicly thank him for all he does quietly. He doesn't want to be more involved, but he shows up for cleanup day and makes sure it goes smoothly. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that what's coming up is on Sunday, August 10th, from 12 to 2. We are initiating our community picnic. For years, especially before COVID, we would have an annual picnic with the Methodist Church across the street, and we would, they would grill hot dogs and everybody else bring a dish to pass. And it was just a nice community gathering. And so we are reinstituting that. And Sunday, August 10th, and Chris, I'll send you a little note so you can put in the newsletter to remind people. From from 12 to 2. It'll be simple dish to pass, but we have talked about it with the church, that that's a time that works for them. And we will do that. We've got some cornhole games and, you know, it'll be informal, just a chance to really meet neighbors, because a lot of people haven't seen each other for many years. So we're hoping to do that. And then I think that's, I mean, you know, in the fall, we've talked about things like in the future, extending the accessibility path from where we have it over to the Dave Sherman Pavilion, from which a lot of people fish. What we've discovered when we were doing our cleanup day is a lot of people fish and bring cans of bait or corn niblets, open the cans, toss them over their shoulder, because we don't provide garbage cans because we can't maintain that. So it's a carry in, carry out park. But for some people, it's a carry in and leave. And so we did a lot of cleanup of bait containers and old fishing gear and stuff like that, that were just off the trail in the wood, you know, so the brushy part. And so we've got some new signage we're going to be putting up to encourage people to take responsibility for themselves. Enjoy the pavilion. We love that people, every time I go by and I see somebody fishing from there, it just sort of like warms my heart that people like to fish in the pond. And that, but to do that responsibly, we want to encourage them to do that. So the idea of having the ADA access sort of extended to that pavilion. I mean, right now it's grass and most people, we actually had, it was, you know, a much older lady who had some difficulty walking, got as far as the pavilion, couldn't do the whole loop, but she was able to get there and sat down and enjoyed that on our cleanup day. And we were happy to see that, but we'd like to make it even easier for people to come and enjoy the park. So that's about really all that we were doing, but we got good ideas. I know that actually, I think they talked briefly with Mary at one point about coming out. We just haven't arranged it yet to look at some of the way the park is set up and think about whether there's an area in which to be more sort of intentional about a pollinator garden that would require every improvement we want to make. We always think about how does that get maintained. And we had a wonderful Girl Scout project years ago that created a pollinator garden with a big sign that explained pollinator gardens before even a lot of people even knew about pollinator gardens. But that wasn't maintained. And so we just finally took the fading signs down and said, let's figure it out. And if we can do it in another way, we'd love to. So things like that, you know, if we ever had the money, eventually, you know, raise garden beds, you know, almost like a mini community garden kind of thing, but all that's in discussion. We will, we typically have our annual meeting in October. And so we will keep the community informed, but we'll hope to see people at the picnic. So that's it, unless you have questions.
Oh, sounds a lot going on.
Yeah,
Good.
so we do, if you do know people in the Jacksonville community who'd like to be on board, we did lose one member. Actually Rachel Osland, who's running for the legislature, was on our board, was a fabulous secretary for us, a wonderful member. But she has other activities on her plate now, so we would love to have another, I got my eye on a couple of people, but we'll see. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
A wonderful spot. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Yeah, and still people, everywhere I go, when I mention it, people are like, where? I've never been there, I never heard of it. Where is it? So spread the word about our little hidden gem.
It is.
We're not too worried about getting overrun. If you don't mind, excuse me.
Absolutely. You spent many a meeting here. I enjoyed
Yeah,
Tuesday
yeah.
night without it. Wonderful. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, next up is an introduction of a local law to override the tax levy limit established in general. Oh, sorry, old business. Speed reduction. It's literally written right there. Thank you. I just wanted to announce to the board and to the public, and we'll be doing a press release on this, that you'll remember that not that long ago, earlier this year, we worked with the town board, worked with state parks about lowering the speed limit around Teganic State Park. So the announcement is that DOT actually amazingly in less than 2 years, thank you DOT, agreed to lower the speed limits. It's going to be lowered on Gorge Road from 55 miles an hour, which is its current speed, to 35 miles an hour from Jacksonville Road to Route 89. And then on Rice Road, the speed limit is going to go from 55 to 35 from Cayuga View Road to Teganic Park Road. And then Jacksonville Road, there's going to be a speed limit reduction from 55 to 40 along the stretch from the end of Jacksonville Road, which is really at the northern entrance to Teganic State Park, to Cold Springs Road. And then Teganic Park Road, where a lot of visitors enter from Route 96 if you're coming south along Route 96. That speed is going to be lowered from 55 to 45 from Route 96 to Jacksonville. The speed limit through Teganic Park on Teganic Park Road will remain 35 as it currently is now. We are going to be waiting. This is just the this is the information in response to our request, and then instructions will follow. When we get that authorization, we can actually put up the signs that officially lower the speed limit. But we don't have that official authorization. But we now know that it's coming. So that was welcome news.
Out of curiosity, just because I haven't dealt with these too much, do we pay for the signs or
Yeah.
does the DOT give us?
Nope, we pay for the
Okay.
signs.
I had a
So when
good feeling.
when Falls Road was lowered from 55, which is unposted, to 50, we got to buy signs. So, but it'll be good to get those signs out there. We have a lot of visitors who don't know that unposted is 55. 'Cause if you're not from New York, you probably don't know that. So it'll be good for that to be up. Any questions on that? It usually takes a couple of months, right, Carissa, if I recall correctly,
Yeah.
before we get notification that we can buy the sign. So it'll be just in time for tourism season to be maybe leaf peeping season. Maybe they'll be up in time for that. Okay, now we can move on to new business. It's the introduction of the local law to override the tax levy. Now, this local law is not saying that we will override the tax levy. It is giving us the ability to if we need to. It's rather routine among many municipalities, including Ulysses historically, to authorize it. Tonight, we're not authorizing it. We're simply introducing it. It's the same basic legislation that you would have seen before. And it does not require, like I said, this is for the public, not for the board. I know the board knows this. It does not require us to exceed the tax levy. But we do know from the comptroller that, and it's the actual amount is different based on what your previous year usages have been. So there's a formula that has to be calculated that we have not calculated yet. But per state law, this coming year, because the state also uses a calculation to determine what the cap is statewide, and it's 2%. And for perspective, we got some early numbers from the Health Consortium that appear to be in the double digits for increases to our premium. So we may be, and we know that inflation is starting to creep up again, at least if this last month was any indication. Double digits.
17.
17, yes.
17%?
Yes. Liz
For
did
the 15 that we did last year.
14.
14.
That's interesting.
So that's not Health Consortium saying that's what it's going to
No,
be.
no, no, no,
That's
I
what
don't think
it's the Blue Cross. That's what Blue Cross is raising their rates by. So, and that's frequently what the Health Consortium has been paralleling, right? So, we're seeing a lot of our municipal budgets, like household budgets, are seeing a lot of upward pressure. So I will say that I will continue to work as hard as we can to keep the budget so we maintain the lowest tax rate and I double checked this, of all the towns and municipalities in Tompkins County, Schuyler County, and Covert or in Seneca County. So, but it's hard with 17%. So any questions about this? What we'd be doing tonight is scheduling a public hearing. The public hearing would be for August 12th. My intention would be we would just hold it that night. We don't actually need to act on it. We have a window to act on it. We wouldn't have to pick it up again until September, but it would give the public a chance to provide feedback and comment, and we wouldn't plan to do anything that evening.
I think, yeah, I'll second.
Okay, so before we second this resolution, first and second, Carissa, so Nate always does, so I always have Nate when we do our resolutions for local laws, because you don't want to screw up a local law. The public hearing is scheduled for 7:05 in this draft. Carissa recommended changing it to 7 o'clock, so we don't have to twiddle our thumbs necessarily if we're ready to jump right in. So I would suggest, see if that's a friendly amendment to move it to 7. Okay, so there's a mover and a seconder. Any further comments, discussion on this?
You're in charge of that meeting, aren't you?
He
Yeah.
is. It's exciting. Okay, then all those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, and back to the agenda here. Next up, is this Discover Cuba Lake contract. So what we have, is that, we are parts of a local consortium, an area consortium with the other municipalities in Tompkins County for stormwater and managing MS4, getting guidance on advisories on MS4, which is related to stormwater. And New York state law is now requires that the providers of those services have to provide an educational component to their services also. So in order to be in compliance, we need to, and this is a very long contract that really mostly, and Nate's reviewed it. It's what it's doing is saying that we are joining forces, as we already have for stormwater work with all the other municipalities. Well, not all the others. It's Town of Caroline, Dryden, City of Ithaca, Town of Ithaca, Town of Lansing, Town of Newfield, Village of Cuba Heights, Village of Lansing, and Tompkins County. And we are selecting Discover Cuba Lake, Inc., which is the floating classroom, to provide educational services as part of our now state requirements. So all the other municipalities have signed. We don't really have any other choice, and it costs $700. So that's,
Go out on the vote.
I can find out. I'm sure we could make arrangements. Oh, no, yeah, they're lovely.
Those kids love going on personal trips.
Yep. We have I don't know if we have one this year, but we do have, we have had youth employees work on the floating classroom. Yeah, no, they're very nice.
Yeah, it's very informative.
Yeah, yeah. No, they do a really good job, so, thank you. Second?
If you wanna go, yeah. Okay.
I'll find out about a boat trip.
Fall, in the fall time,
Yep.
to go leaf peeping.
So this approves me to sign the contract, just to be clear, approves me to sign the contract. And for the total of $700, so it'll come out of contingency. Okay, so we had a mover and do we have a seconder over here? Thought I heard a second. Okay, any further comment or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Oh, thank you, Mary. Carissa, I need to sign that before I leave. Because Angel is chomping at the bit to get it, because we're the last one to sign. Because it came to me last. So scheduling, the next item up is scheduling a special meeting for the consideration of the park donation. So here's where we are right now. I think I mentioned at our last town board meeting, is that it came to our attention that there's a state requirement that any municipal purchase of ag land in a state agricultural district that exceeds 10 acres has to go through an additional review process by Ag and Markets, New York Ag and Markets.
Purchase or acquisition.
Well, it's, yeah, it doesn't have to be purchased. It's acquiring. So. Which is fine, because so we sent the environmental review phase 1 or part 1 to Ag and Markets as an interested agency. They wrote back that that there's a 65-day notification requirement, but that we're eligible for a waiver if the property owner is willing to sign it, which basically says I waive the 65-day notification process. So the donor is willing to sign that. We're going to submit that. And so it just becomes we're waiting for environmental review back from them. We're anticipating that we should have it back in the next, I don't know, a couple of weeks at the latest. So I just wanted to, I don't want to firmly pick a date tonight, because I want to check in. I'm hoping to know by the end of this week if we can firm it up. But we did cancel our second meeting in August. And I was wondering, looking at a different date, I would like to look at something the last week of August to see what people are available to have a special meeting. And I think there is value in having a special meeting just about the park donation, because then everything can be focused on that. We're not also trying to pay bills and do other business and, talk about the budget or anything like that. But I also want to make sure the public has plenty of advance notice, so there's not, it's not confusing or anything like that. And Chris and I've already talked about how we can push out that message, press releases, we can do an advertisement, we can do posters. I mean, there's newsletter. There are plenty of ways we can get it out. So I was hoping maybe everybody could look at their schedule and we could put a tentative hold on something, and I could firm it up by the end of the week.
Evening meeting.
Yes, it'd be an evening. We do it at 7 o'clock. I was looking at the 25th, the 27th, or the 28th. Do any of those work? It's a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Any of those would be fine for me.
Those work for you? Those work for you, Rich? Mary, what about you? Are you around that week? Oh, you're on mute.
So the 25th and the 27th, actually, any of those, let's see, first, third, yep, any of those would work.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm hoping to hear something moving forward, just to have a little bit more clarity from Ag and Markets by the end of the week. So I'm hoping that by the beginning of next week, we can finalize that. So that'll give a minimum of 4 weeks for notice, possibly a little bit longer than that. Okay, great. Thank you for your flexibility. We'll firm that up. Okay. And then item D is new item of new business is a road closure, and State Parks. I happened to be in a meeting today with State Parks. The new parking lot at the top of, let me find my draft resolution that I put together this evening. The new parking lot at the top of Taganic State Park is going to be opening in the relatively few days, apparently, possibly. And it is a paid parking lot. And there's concern from State Parks, and then Scott Stewart, our highway superintendent, was also in this conversation. There's concern from State Parks that there may be an effort to try not to park up there, but without parking in there, by parking on the road. So that, and I do sympathize with the cost of parking at State Park. I'm not suggestive of anything of that, but the reality is that Gorge Road is not well suited for people just parking along the edge. It really falls off. And it could really be detrimental to the side of the roadway, to the folks the neighbors who live there. And so what State Parks and Scott Stewart with his endorsement is asking for is a 2-month temporary no parking placed along Gorge Road for the first 2,000 feet from the top of Jacksonville down Gorge Road to the south, or to the east. and to see if that helps. And then I think that we should probably look at that. Scott wants to look at that more long-term to see if it's suitable for permanent no parking. Because it really, I mean, if you drive that stretch, it's just really, nobody should be parking on the shoulder there. So yeah, so that's, any questions about that?
The 2,000 feet wouldn't. There's two like pull down areas on the rim trail that are kind of further south towards Teganic. Those wouldn't be impacted, right?
No, he wasn't gonna post that as no parking.
I think those are dedicated for the rim. There's only like 4 cars maybe that could fit in those 2 areas.
Yeah, I mean, 2 very small cars, but, and yeah, that's, oh, you're talking about, no, so we wouldn't, so the pull off there, that wouldn't be it, because that's on state park land, so we
Okay.
can't, we wouldn't be shutting off,
Okay.
it's really just parking along the roadway
Okay,
itself.
Yeah, no, that's.
And
very-
it goes down, 2,000 feet goes down to the lumber mill area.
Okay.
So it's not, I don't think it's as far.
No,
and
no, that's further south.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
for, so, so let me, so Chris, I emailed you a resolution. I realized, a draft resolution. I realized that I said, 200 feet of Gorge Road south of Jacksonville Road. It's really probably like southeast or east.
Okay.
Sure.
Say east?
Yeah, it's east, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because,
Like,
Northeast.
yeah, it's northeast.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Northeast, I mean.
Northeast. So I was, so south is completely
Yeah.
wrong. I was thinking it's the top.
Southwest from the other side.
Exactly. I was like, you're at the top, so you're going down and down to south. No, that's not true. So it's northeast.
Yeah, northeast, southwest.
Well, the only reason it's northeast is because,
You're posting both sides, right?
yeah, we are posting it both sides. Running. Yeah, so it is both sides. So maybe we should include Carissa that
Can we
it's
just
both
go
sides.
across street like?
There is no
Gorge
cross
Road
street.
coming
It's
out?
not, there's not a cross street until you get down to 89. So, oh, no, that's not true. Willow Creek intersects it, but it's not going that far. So. Anyway. It's the first 2,000 feet, both sides of the road from Jacksonville. And it doesn't go any farther because that's the terminus of, or the beginning of Gorge Road, which whatever you consider it. State Park is just over, I want to say it's like 73 or 76 spaces.
The $8 or $9 to get in.
Oh, it's like 10. I think it's
$10
10.
now? Oh no, I got a park pass this year.
I think it's $10 to get in this year.
Is there an attendant or something, or do you sell?
Machines, I think it's gonna be machines up there.
You can buy a pass.
You can buy a
Put it On
pass.
your phone now.
You could also, you can borrow park passes from the library. The library has some. And if you're a senior, you can get a free one, over 65, through, New York State.
Weekends.
No, oh, it's not, doesn't cover weekends, okay,
Or holidays.
or holidays.
But the park pass works at any of the parks, so you go to Watkins,
Yeah.
you could go to Letchworth.
Yep. So, anyway, so, I'll read the resolved, although now I'm not sure. Maybe Krista, could you read the resolved? Did you modify the resolved?
Resolved, the Ulysses Town Board directs the highway superintendent to post no parking signs along the first 2,000
Mm-hmm.
feet of Gorge Road northeast of Jacksonville Road for 2 months, effectively July 23rd, 2020, effective.
Yeah,
July
that's a
23rd,
typo, yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, so you'd like to start posting it tomorrow because of the tentative opening. So I will move that.
Second.
Thank you. Any further comments or discussion on it? Great. All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, next regular meeting chaired by Monsieur Goldman. Is gonna be August 12th. We canceled the regular meeting on the 26th. We have budget meetings on the calendar starting Monday, September 8th. And that our first regular meeting for September is, I can't believe September's already on the calendar, is what's the 9th. So we do have minutes that were, I'm trying to remember the date. In front of me, minutes from our meeting on the 8th that were posted. Did anybody have any changes or corrections they needed?
No.
Okay. Mary, did you have anything that you need to change?
No,
Okay. Then a motion to approve the minutes, as provided. Was presented, thank you. I'll move it, second it, Rich seconded, and, all those in favor? Aye. I do not have any board notifications.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Comp plan, first 3 chapters are released for review, so I will make sure that you all. I don't think Neil's directly sent them to you, but I
No.
can send them directly to you. They're being shared with the town board. I know Chris and Neil's had emailed you with them too. They're being shared with the public, so you can access them to
I
how.
posted them on Facebook, but they're also on the website.
There you go. And then the conservation group is gonna get them, the water source protection group should get them, planning board and zoning board. So don't have time frames yet for when we want your input by. A month, probably, more or less. There's gonna be more chapters coming later this week. But you have 3 to start with. So, have fun reading. Those 3,
36
18.
pages each.
Yeah.
Some of them are, oh yeah, because in the final, the more refined version.
Yeah, so we're still playing around with a couple sections to try to minimize the chapters and put some of the repetitive, like this. We use these resources that are already existing to help kind of drive the existing conditions or proposed plans for this chapter. They were in each individual chapter to begin with. And we're kind of consolidating them in the front or in appendices to try to keep the chapters a little bit more user-friendly and kind of straight to the point. We don't want to lose people in the words. So I think they have been consolidated quite a lot from the first round that we received them as. But,
50-some pages.
they were, yeah. But now I think they're like 30.
Well, I can tell
40.
you right now, hold on.
They're kind of it's housing, economic development. I should know this off the top of my head because I just read the email.
The housing is 35 pages. That includes a table of contents in it for that chapter. It includes the images, of which or charts of which there are some, which eat up space. There are quite a few charts. So
Yeah, so it's not just strict reading. And we're open to thoughts, suggestions on how to present the data, if there's too many charts, if you want less charts. Please feel free to pick. Linda, that goes for you too, because I know your background. So you should be getting it soon from your team on the planning board, Linda.
yeah. But
Yes.
it's also
You
on
got
our web.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Chris already posted it, yeah.
So, and public comments can come to us at a meeting, you can email them, you can come to a comp plan steering committee meeting and present them to us. We'll accept them anyway. Just want comments. So, that's all.
Very exciting to see him in
We're
written
moving.
form and moving to the public. For feedback. Okay, cool, thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? On updates?
This is Linda. I'd like to, for the water committee, we have, I just want to give you a heads up that we are finalizing our draft of the source protection plan. And we're meeting on Monday with the committee. This is just a routine to finalize it, and then we'll be sending it to the board. So after the 28th, you should get a copy of it. And I think we're on the agenda for the 12th of August to talk through the plan. So if you can spend some time reading it by before that and have questions, that'll be great. Okay?
Good, yeah. forward to it. I have it scheduled as an introduction because I don't think
Yes.
the board is in a place to adopt just at the first meeting,
Yep.
but
That's fine. That's fine.
perfect. Yep,
Yep.
you're on it. And I think I know Roxanne responded to my email, but you were on it, so I'm asking it to go to
Good.
Teresa, my deputy,
Yep.
and she can make sure it gets into the
Yeah.
packet. And I mean, you can send it to the board members also. But in order to get in the packet, that's the most efficient
Sure.
route.
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. I saw it and I saw Roxanne's response, which was great. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda. It's very exciting. Been years in the making, so kudos.
God, yes.
Excellent. Okay, privilege of the floor. We're back full circle. Anybody in person who wishes to address the board? Yes, please go ahead.
Just looking at the agenda, are the meetings for the budget, are they live streamed?
Yep.
They are.
Yeah.
All your meetings.
Well, they're
community
not live streamed, but you can join them or watch
Right.
them
That's
after
what
the
I
fact.
mean.
Yeah.
Okay. And the purpose of the scheduling a special meeting for the park donation, is that just to gather more information from the public? Is it to present other information you've received and you'd be voting that night, or it's?
So at that point, it would be to present, so we've gone through the first and second part of the State Environmental Quality Review Act requirements. And so we would review the final part. We're still waiting on, we can't review the final part until we get Ag and Markets feedback. But we would do the environmental review, and then if the material would be available if the board chose to act upon accepting the donation. That will always be conditional upon going to the Board of Zoning Appeals for an area variance. But the board could choose to act that night, yes.
Okay.
So September and October get really, really heavy with budget and lots of long meetings. And so I think my recommendation is to have a special meeting so that there's space and time and that can be well publicized in advance. So, but the board could choose to act that night, yeah.
Just an add-on, because I sent an email after the last meeting as an extended comment to Mr. Boggs. Had questioned in the document where it just said recreation park, and should that be more specific? And my concern was, should there be a restriction to stated for non-motorized recreation? There's a concern that we had friends that had bought a home near what was supposed to be mountain biking trails, and it became dirt bike trails, motorized and noisy. So it might be a good consideration to have that discussion because of the public's concern about noise and interruption to their neighborhood, et cetera. That might be something I'd like to restrict, to not have motorized recreation.
So, and I appreciate that concern. I think that if I recall correctly, your friends were in the town of Enfield that doesn't have zoning. And it was on private property. And so the difference being is that no action will ever happen here that's not authorized in advance by the town board and goes through planning board review for any site plan. So I think that there would be many, many steps along the way if a town board got super excited about doing motocross, but as in a very different way than if you live adjacent to a private property in a community that doesn't have zoning. It's just the layers of complexity to get to a walking trail that would be constructed is going to be deep and intensive in Ulysses in comparison to our less restrictive one. So I did bring that concern to the town attorney as you raised it, Michael, and that was his recommendation, is that based on how many layers, the many, many layers you have to go through and review in Ulysses, that is going to serve as a check as well. I mean, nothing would ever be done without town board authorization.
Some sense, why wouldn't we prohibit loud motorcycles? I don't know.
Just outright prohibit it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I would recommend that we can cease making many, unless you think it's really important and that you deeply want to make sure that you're preventing a real thing that might possibly happen in the future. I would recommend ceasing going back and forth on additional edits unless they really are reflecting a substantive concern. If it's a substantive concern that you think that there's a practical risk that could happen, then sure, absolutely. If you don't, I would recommend leaving it be, only because every time we do this, it's going to be another delay. It's going to be another, process. So.
We haven't signed any documents yet.
No, we haven't, but I won't be able to schedule a meeting if we have to go back to another round of, and not that I think that the donor even would have any concerns. I'm not suggesting that. It's mostly that if you think there's a real concern, I'm happy to take it. If you think that the conversation the board previously has had was that we want to put restrictions on it for, at this point, 75 years, but at the same token, we want to set up the future town boards and the community to alter it as meets the needs of the day, as opposed to restricting everything out of the gate and finding that balance, right? There are definitely restrictions in it. It's a dawn to dusk facility, things like that, in terms of outdoor activities. But if the board feels that there's a substantive fear that at some point there could be town authorized motorcycles, then we could do that. I just don't think in Ulysses I personally don't think it's a practical fear because of, I mean, and I'm not joking when I say developing a walking trail and a parking lot and all of those things. Talk to the JCA about how hard it was to do just a parking area, a minor parking area at the Jacksonville Park. It was a very complicated process. I can't imagine somebody realistically asking for motorcycles.
Doing 50, I don't.
But do you care in 50 years?
Well, I care for the people who live there.
I understand, but I also think, but I mean, my point is, but they'll have their own town board. That would be my sentiment.
I mean, it's easy to do it now. If it becomes a problem later.
Wouldn't we foresee this being rezoned to a park eventually? As we.
I would recommend it,
Right, as
but
we go through the process.
yes.
Yeah. It'll be zoned as a park, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So we can look to see what the park regulations are, and what's,
Already.
yeah, so there's already some restrictions, but I don't know the details. But
I can,
Motor-
if you want to hold on just a sec, I can look them up.
yeah, each zone has its, well, you. Guys, you do come against that, I'm sure.
We haven't gotten plan use yet.
No chapter.
Oh, that's the next chapter.
I mean, realistically, changing the zoning regulations for prohibiting that kind of stuff in parks, permitted uses in the park and recreation zone. Farm operations, public and private community parks, regional parks and preserves.
It may not, I'm not sure if it's updated yet. Did we made an amendment to have parks in the park?
Yes, there are.
Allowed?
So this does not, this
That
does
is
not reflect, right. So right now, additional uses by special permit include seasonal campgrounds, cemeteries, golf courses, nature centers, and commercial stables. Minor solar collection, vehicle parking, temporary buildings, seasonal roadside stands, single-family residences. So anything that's not expressly allowed is prohibited. So.
Maybe that's something we can consider if there's recommendations for zoning updates too. Then makes it solidified.
Okay.
Cause I understand the concern. Drones.
We can't regulate those.
No. Yep, I saw a massive one flying over a field the other day. Cause there's a lot of farmers that took out insurance this year. And they're checking to see if they actually planted and are still collecting insurance money. Anyways.
Add that to the agenda.
I don't want to manage that regulations. So I would like some clear direction. I mean, I'm happy to go back and amend a contract
I think
again.
It's fine.
um,
It isn't, if it's
No.
it's not included, it's excluded.
Right. And I mean, and it may be worth explicitly prohibiting, you know, in the zoning, if there is a concern about that, because I can see that being reasonable. I think it's gonna be very hard to get into the park and recreation zone as a property, in terms of, although it's, I think residences in the park and
It is
recreation, I don't know. I didn't create this. You were on the board then, Michael, Michael would blame you guys. What? Why, do tell me why.
No.
Single family residences are, exactly.
We might want to fix that.
But Carissa, you are absolutely right. These are the,
It has been.
these,
As a character.
has it?
Yeah,
Well, it has been updated, but I don't think this one has. Has it? Oh, no, it says by 2024.
parks permitted uses.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. Yep. We probably, someone might want to go back and look at that at some point. Just about the residences, and maybe you have an existing residence. I don't know. Okay,
Thank you for exploring it.
no,
Sure.
absolutely. I wouldn't want to live next to that either, so I can appreciate that. Sorry, it took me, there we go. Okay, anybody online who wishes to address the board and privilege of the floor? Okie dokie. Well, then, Rich,
Move to adjourn.
Mary,
Second.
thank you. Short and sweet.